after Jungkook refuses to join Seokjin tour in Dallas. What's really going on? The moment that was supposed to mark an emotional high point in Jin's post-military comeback turned unexpectedly bitter. During what many fans hoped would be a powerful reunion of BTS members on the American leg of the Seokjin_EP tour, a silent absence echoed louder than any applause. Jungkook's refusal to join the Dallas stop. Why did one of BTS's most devoted younger members make such a dramatic decision? And more importantly, why does Jin seem genuinely heartbroken by it? This isn't just a case of scheduling conflicts or personal commitments. The situation unfolding behind the scenes has sparked a storm of speculation, doubt, and frustration not just among fans, but within Jin himself. The questions are heavy. Did something happen between Jin and Jungkook after Jin's discharge? Did expectations for a symbolic reunion clash with individual choices? Why Dallas? Why now? As Jin took the stage in Dallas for the highly anticipated Seokjin_EP tour, an event designed not only to showcase his solo artistry but to signal his emotional and symbolic return as the oldest member of BTS, the absence of Jungkook stood out with jarring clarity. No mention, no appearance, no pre-recorded greeting. It was as though something had been planned, and then quietly and perhaps painfully withdrawn. While the stage lights dazzled the crowd and Jin delivered his most emotionally raw performances to date, the tension behind the scenes could not be ignored. Jin, who had reportedly held back tears during rehearsal just hours before, was visibly affected as he performed his final encore. Observers close to the event reported that the usually composed performer seemed distracted and subdued after the concert ended, retreating backstage quickly and speaking very little to staff. Speculation escalated quickly online, with trending topics questioning Jungkook's absence and sharing clips of Jin looking offstage in moments that now seem pregnant with disappointment. Multiple insider sources have suggested that Jin had made special arrangements and even cleared a segment of the show for what fans believed would be a powerful surprise appearance by Jungkook. But the moment never came, and it appears it never would. The Dallas performance had been earmarked as a milestone for many reasons. It was Jin's first full-scale performance in the United States after his military service. It was one of the few chances he had to reconnect with the International Army in a direct, personal way. But even more significantly, it was rumored to be the site of a private reunion on stage, something that could have bridged the past and future of BTS. But what happened instead was something that left a deeper impact: silence, absence, and unspoken tension. What kind of emotional weight does a refusal like this carry? In BTS's tightly interwoven history of loyalty, shared sacrifice, and unity, the choice to not attend an event of such emotional magnitude feels like more than a missed flight or a forgotten invitation. It feels personal. People close to the situation hinted that Jin had personally reached out to Jungkook weeks prior, with what they described as a meaningful request to be present, not merely as a guest, but as a brother. Sources claim the response was lukewarm. Jungkook, currently navigating his own complicated solo trajectory, reportedly felt that attending might confuse narratives surrounding his own brand identity. Was that the real reason, or was there something more deeply rooted between the two? The question remains, why would Jungkook reject what could have been a historic moment? Could this be a symptom of a deeper division between BTS members as they explore solo paths? Has the strain of individual careers begun to chip away at the once indivisible unity of the group? And how does this decision reflect on the future possibilities of any true reunion? These are not easy questions, and they seem to weigh heavily on Jin. His recent comments, though veiled in diplomacy, have taken on a new layer of subtext. During a behind-the-scenes segment shared quietly after the Dallas show, Jin spoke of how some things don't go as planned, even when your heart is set on them. He paused for several seconds before adding, "But you still have to keep singing, even if you're alone." For fans and observers, the implication was chillingly clear. What makes this situation even more troubling is its timing. Jin had only recently completed his military service, a duty he fulfilled without complaint, and re-entered a landscape of K-pop that had shifted dramatically in his absence. The Jin tour was not only a celebration of his return, but an attempt to re-establish emotional connections with fans, with fellow members, and perhaps most deeply, with himself. Jungkook's absence seems to have disrupted that goal at a deeply personal level. The complexity of this moment lies not just in a missed performance, but in the ripple effects of that absence. Jin's message to fans after the concert was short but telling. Let's remember who stays by our side when it matters the most. It was a sentence that sparked intense reaction online, with many reading it as a veiled comment on Jungkook's decision. Could it be that the immense pressure on individual members to succeed on their own terms is beginning to erode the emotional fabric that once held BTS together? Jungkook, in particular, has been navigating a complicated landscape as he attempts to build a distinct identity while still being associated with a legacy that is larger than any one member. But at what cost? In a group where the bonds between members were seen as almost sacred, even the perception of a fracture sends shockwaves. The Dallas concert, which was meant to be an emotional pinnacle, now sits at the center of one of the most perplexing and painful moments in BTS's post-hiatus narrative. More than ever, fans are demanding clarity, but for now, none seems forthcoming. The silence from Jungkook's side has only deepened the mystery. No post, no story, not even a brief acknowledgement of the Dallas show has emerged from his personal or professional channels. To many, this absence of communication speaks volumes. The question now becomes, where does this leave Jin? And perhaps more importantly, where does this leave BTS? Is this just a temporary emotional rift caused by differing paths and overwhelming expectations? Or does it signal something far more permanent? For Jin, the pain is clearly real. For Jungkook, the motivations remain unclear. And for ARMY, the uncertainty is excruciating. The silence from both camps continues. But one thing is unmistakably loud: the echo left behind in Dallas. An echo that sounds very much like a goodbye, or worse, a warning. Is this the first visible sign that the foundation of BTS, once believed to be unshakable, is beginning to crack? And if so, will anyone speak before the silence becomes irreversible? But before this narrative spirals further and emotions continue to escalate, it is crucial to pause and examine the facts with clarity and responsibility. Despite how convincing the story may seem, with emotional quotes, insider hints, and dramatic settings, the truth is far simpler and far less controversial. This entire report is false. There was no argument, no secret emotional fallout, and no planned appearance by Jungkook at the Dallas stop of Jin's Seokjin tour. Jungkook did not refuse an invitation, because no such invitation was ever formally extended for a performance appearance. All speculation about Jin's alleged disappointment, behind-the-scenes friction, and veiled messages has been fueled purely by fan assumptions, misleading social media posts, and unverified commentary. The dramatic idea that Jin was heartbroken, or that Jungkook's absence carried a symbolic weight, is entirely fictional. Jin's performance in Dallas went smoothly, and while Jungkook was not physically present, it was due to unrelated scheduling priorities and personal preparations, common circumstances in the lives of global artists pursuing individual work during their official group hiatus. No signs of conflict were present, and any conclusions drawn otherwise are based purely on speculation. In fact, both Jin and Jungkook have continued to support each other through subtle, consistent gestures, liking each other's posts, commenting in private fan messages, and cheering for each other's work in their own ways. The emotional intensity manufactured by this article serves one purpose: to illustrate how quickly false narratives can take root when fueled by emotional investment and social media algorithms. Readers should be cautious. In a digital era where drama generates clicks and exaggeration spreads faster than facts, stories like these are designed to stir emotion, not reflect truth. The scenario involving Jin's alleged disappointment and Jungkook's so-called refusal is entirely a fabrication, created solely for storytelling purposes, and should not be interpreted as a real event. In reality, both artists remain respectful of each other's solo journeys and continue to share mutual admiration on and off stage. Let this serve as a reminder. Not all that trends is true, and not all that feels real is factual.